Okay, in this video, I want to talk about the process of building a sentence, the very general process of building a sentence. And the building blocks of a sentence are the word, the phrase, the clause, and then the sentence. And the general process is we take one or more words, we use it to build a phrase, and then we take one or more phrases to build a clause, and then we take one or more clauses to build a sentence. So, as you probably heard me say, one or more, one or more, one or more, one or more. So we can have a very simple one, very short sentence, or we can have more, and we can have a very long sentence. But the basic process is the same. You collect word or words into phrases, into clauses, clauses into sentences. Okay? And so let's go ahead and show this by an example. Now, over here I have a picture of an Albertosaurus skeleton at a really great dinosaur museum, the Royal Tyrrell Museum in Drumheller, Alberta. It's not too far from Calgary. And it really is, I've been there, it's a really neat museum. But anyway, so you and I are walking in a field, and I look around and I see an Albertosaurus, and it's coming towards us. So I need to get you information. And the first word that comes into my head is run. Okay? And run is a word. And it happens to be a verb. And a verb is a word that describes action or state of being. In this case, very much action. Okay? And we're going to take that word and we're going to turn it into a very simple phrase. Run. Okay? So now we have a phrase, and specifically we have a verb phrase. Okay? Now, phrases can be more than one word, but in this case, run is good enough. Okay? So now I'm going to take that phrase and I'm going to put it in a clause. And I'm going to pick a very special kind of clause, okay, called an imperative clause. And the reason I'm doing that is because clauses require a subject, what we're talking about, and we'll talk more about this later, a subject, and then a predicate which talks about the subject. But in the special case of the imperative clause, the subject is always you, and we don't have to write it down. We just understand that it's you. Okay, so this is a perfectly good imperative clause. Now, I'm going to take this, and I'm going to turn this, get the right color. I'm going to turn this into a sentence, and for punctuation mark, I'm going to use an exclamation point, because obviously it's very important to me that you run. And so this is a sentence. Now it only has one clause, so it's a simple sentence. Simple means it only has one clause, and it's a command. Okay, that's the function that it performs. So it's a simple command. Okay, so this is kind of a minimal sentence. So let's go to something less urgent, but longer. So we have more time to think about this. And this time, the word I'm going to start with is father. Okay. And this is a word. And it's a noun. It names something. Okay, now I want to get more specific, so I will add an adjective. Actually, it's a special kind of adjective called a determiner. Actually, let me give myself some room. Okay, I'm going to turn it into a phrase. And I'm going to use this determiner your, which answers the question, which one? And it's your father. Okay? So he's who I'm interested in. And now this is a phrase. And this happens to be a noun phrase. Okay, now I'm going to take this phrase and I'm going to combine it with other phrases. And I'm going to go down here. And so I'm going to have your father. Whoop. Get my color straight. Your father. And I'm going to mark that as, that's a noun phrase. I'm going to mark that as blue as a noun phrase. Okay, and I'm going to take a verb phrase, and verb phrase, one or more verbs. This was an example of a verb phrase, but this one's going to have two. And the verb phrase I'm going to use is will by, and that's one verb phrase. But in this case, I'm going to split it up. So I'm going to put the will up here and the by here. And I do that because that is one of the ways we make interrogative clauses and build questions, is to switch the first word in the verb phrase with the subject. Your father. Okay, sorry about that. So will your father buy? Well, will your father buy what? So we need some more information. So let's go get two more phrases. Okay. Your sister. Okay. So I have another noun phrase. So I have a noun and again a determiner to say whose sister, which one, your sister. Okay. And then what are we going to buy? Well, let's buy one of these over here. A car. Your dad's thinking of buying your sister a car like this one over here in the picture, or maybe even a better one. Okay, but that's a car. Okay, and we're not being very specific about cars, so we will go ahead and include this funny looking car here. So, will your father buy your sister a car? Okay, this is a clause. This is a clause. It has a subject, and it has three more phrases that talk about the subject, and those three phrases we call a predicate. Okay, so that makes it a clause, and in this case, it's an interrogative clause. It's a clause that seeks information. It's looking for information. So I'm looking for some information from you, presuming you're the one I'm talking to, about what your father's intentions are. Okay? Now, let's go ahead and build a sentence. Now, we could make a simple sentence. We could just use this one clause, and we could have a simple sentence. Okay? And remember, it's simple because it only has one clause. It can have all these words. We've got 8 words, but it's still a simple sentence. But we're going to make it even bigger. So, will. Okay, it's going to take me a little bit of time. Will your father buy your sister a car? I'm going to go down here on the next line. If, okay, this is a conjunction, so we're going to use it to attach another clause. If she so she's the subject. Does is the verb. She does. Does what? Does well. We'll get prepositions in here. On her exams. Okay, and this is a question. Okay, we're seeking information. So we're adding another clause that adds another condition. So do these in white. This is one clause, and this is another clause. Okay, so we have two clauses, and we have one clause that can stand alone, and we have one clause that can't. So this is called an independent clause. It can form a sentence all by itself, but if she does well on her exams is not a complete thought. We need some more information, specifically the question up, specifically something like the question up here, or a statement. Your father will buy your sister a car if she does well on her exams. We can make that a statement. So this is a sentence, and because it has a independent and a dependent clause, and don't worry too much about these. We're going to talk a lot more about these later. That makes it a complex, and in this case, question. Okay, so that's the type. But you can see the process was just the same. We took a word, we took a couple words and made a phrase. We took these two verbs and made a verb phrase. We took these two words and made a noun phrase. We took these two words and made a noun phrase. We took these four noun phrases together. To make a clause, and then we took two clauses to make a sentence. In this sentence as well, we have a noun phrase here, we have her exams, a noun phrase, we have a prepositional phrase starting on, and we have an adjective phrase, well on her exams. Okay, all combines to make an adjective phrase. So we just keep building and building and building. And so no matter how short, no matter how long, those are the general steps. So that's kind of an ugly car, so I'll leave you looking at the nice dinosaur. And I will go make another video.